Welcome back to Biggie Outdoors at the top of the hour. We welcome in those just tuning in, and for those of you who have been listening, we're headed into another great hour of outdoor radio with Biggie and Brandon here at Biggie Outdoor Studios. This hour is brought to you by one of our great supporters at Outdoor Edge Knives and Cutlery, makers of the swing blade and other great tools for the outdoorsman. Check them out at OutdoorEdge.com and get yourself one of the best hunting knives or cutlery sets you'll ever own. Also buy Koala Buck coolers, portable walk-in coolers for the sportsman, a great way to save your game when you're traveling on a hunt and want to keep your meat cool. Find them online at koalabuck.com. Now, stay tuned for more Biggie Outdoor Radio. Biggie Outdoors, located at Cedar Creek, is reopening its doors soon after its new remodeling. Home to the area's first and only big game hunting museum, with educational exhibits displaying animals from around the world and facts around the hunters' contributions to their survival. Pick up some unique souvenirs and gifts from the museum and from the Biggie TV shows. Meet the pro staff from Biggie TV and Biggie Outdoor Radio. A great place to stop in with the whole family. And while you're there, book your next hunting trip with the Biggie Outdoors Professional Hunters. With over 21 personal hunting destinations worldwide, you'll be sure to find a quality getaway with the Biggie Outdoors destinations. Biggie Outdoors is also home to Adrenaline Hydrographic. Check us out online at BiggieOutfitters.com and register to win a free hunt. Biggie Outdoors at Cedar Creek. Well, we're back at the top of the hour with some more Biggie Outdoor Radio, and for those of you that are just tuning in, we've had some interesting topics here this morning. We had a guest in the studio with us here, Ernest Williams, one of our pro staffers. He's actually a federal U.S. Marshal that is on our pro staff and does quite a bit of hunting with us, and so we had him weighing in on some of the topics that we face here in Wisconsin, from the wolf situation to the Chippewa tribes and the Indian tribes being able to shine and hunt deer at night across the state of Wisconsin in public lands. So, one of the things that it was funny hearing from someone, as Ernie puts it, from someone of color, he calls himself, and hearing how he views things. He's a pretty fair-minded person. And, he puts a lot of things in perspective. Very, very much like I guess what a lot of us conservatives think. And the fact that, how far can we take these special privileges and special rights? We're not dealing with the generations of folks where this stuff affects anymore, or where these things occurred. None of us were around when these treaties were signed, when these wrongs were done. None of us were around when slavery was in effect. So for people to be living in the past anymore is getting to be almost ridiculous. Whether you're black, white, red, yellow, it doesn't matter anymore. We live in a nation where all these colors have to live together under the red, white, and blue. And we can't be passing laws that says that one race can do something that another race can't without the danger of causing some racial tensions. And you can go back and try to say that the hunting at night is something that is protected by the Native American history, and I will argue with you to the point that Native American culture does not allow them to even go out at night. They did not fight at night because they were worried that if they were killed at night, it had implications on their souls. So they didn't hunt at night, folks. They didn't war at night. They didn't do anything at night, and they surely didn't have spotlights. So this spearing of fish in big nets under the mass killings that they do and the hunting at night, these things are being pushed out of context to the point that it's taking advantage of our resources. When you start spearing a bunch of fish that you're just throwing away when you're done, this is just abuse. And if you're going to come up with regulations that the rest of us have to follow in order to preserve fish populations and things like that, we need to start looking at what we're allowing, period. And we have to start thinking about the laws that we're allowing to happen. And here we got a judge. This is not something that the DNR is doing, folks. So I want you to take this into consideration, because I hear a lot of folks out there blaming the DNR for this in the state of Wisconsin. It's not. It's a federal judge. So we got a judge out there, that is allowing this stuff to go on, and then turn around and putting the wolf under protection as an endangered animal. And now our wolf populations are going to soar out of control. And I was just reading some information in the Buckmasters magazine from this month on coyotes and how the coyote populations are rising. And the average hunter, obviously out there that sees a coyote, will go the mile as to even let their deer walk to get rid of a coyote when they see it, and which is great. But sometimes that even makes things worse because it can allow a transient coyote to move into the area, which can cause even more damage than a territorial coyote or a resident coyote. And these same things are going to happen with the wolves, and where the wolf populations start rising up. There's been studies done on the coyote population in South Carolina where they actually took like 198,000 acres of land, and they did a study and found out that 75% of the fawns, of the deer fawns, are being killed by predators like the coyotes, bobcats and coyotes. So they started trapping them, and in 1 year they trapped over 500 of these things. And when they did it, they found out that their fawn population increased by 80%. So they definitely had a positive impact on the population of offspring of deer by getting rid of the coyotes. And these coyotes are starting to overrun every state in the United States, and this is starting to become a major epidemic. And they're saying that the average hunter that's out there just taking out a coyote when they see it, the opportunity coyote, is not going to make an impact on them anymore. So what's going to happen when the wolves start reproducing to these kind of numbers? Because they are already facing these kind of problems in the West with the wolves. And now we have them here, and they're not, I'm going to say they're not natural, because we had them exterminated for a reason. Our ancestors exterminated these wolves because of what we're doing with cattle and our dairy farming and all of the things that we do in our urban situations here. So long ago, people had the foresight and the knowledge to realize that wolves were a problem for our population and our civilization here. And we've lived without them. And then all of a sudden, somebody in a government position decides that, a handful of people decide that without putting it to a vote, without bringing it to the people, that they're just going to throw wolves in the state of Wisconsin and bring them back. Those are the kind of things that the power of the DNR, because that was them, is going too far, because they just decide that this is what we're going to do. And so they go ahead and they release these wolves. Well, they had the intent that, when they get enough, that we're going to be able to hunt them. Now the problem that they've caused is tree huggers have gone to the federal judge and they made them so that we can't hunt them. The wolf is not much different than the coyote when it comes to reproducing. There aren't any other predators out there that are going to take it out except us. And this thing is going to start reproducing and do the multiplication. We are going to end up with wolf problems. And we can't do anything about it now. Nothing. The only way that you can kill a wolf is if you hit it with your car. So, now we have some serious problems, and they were caused by the fact that some people in the state level think that they have the power to make decisions without bringing it to the rest of the state and even letting the rest of the hunters have any say-so in these things. And if they do get folks on their panel that disagree with them, well, then they kick them off. So, folks, I think it's time that as hunters and as citizens of the state of Wisconsin and actually of the United States, we're going to have to start putting the squeeze on these people. Regardless of the fact that they are DNR officials and they are state officials and whether they're the Department of Ag or whoever they are, these folks are living on taxpayer dollars. That's how they get paid. So, it's time that we figure out how to put squeeze on them. And their jobs need to get eliminated. And we need to get people in there that make decisions based on a consensus. And we may not all agree, but if we all go to vote and the majority of us decide that, hey, we want wolves, then we live with it. But none of us got a say-so in this. And now we have a problem. So, so regardless of the fact that the federal judge is the one that put these things back on the endangered list, it does come back to our state and our state officials. And when I come back in the next segment, I'm going to talk a little bit more on the CWD issues because this is a serious problem, and there's many states that are doing the same thing with this tongue-in-cheek and this sleight-of-hand cover-up that's going on with the CWD issues. And this is actually getting to be quite ridiculous, and it's costing us as taxpayers a lot of money. So the longer that we let this go on, the more money that comes out of our pockets for unnecessary funding of things just to keep people employed. So I'll be right back with some more Biggie Outdoor Radio. Hey, welcome back. We're here in our studio here at the Cedar Creek Mall. Folks, if you want to come down and check out the Biggie Outdoor Radio Show, we record it on Wednesday, Thursdays, and Fridays. And you can come on down and watch this show being recorded live right here in front of the museum, right in our window. And my gosh, we get to watch everything that's going on out here. And the Cedar Creek Mall is getting an entire new facelift, folks. It looks great out here. The green roof and the red is pretty much gone. We still have some red trim around here, but the place is done up with a nice tan roof, and we're getting stone pillars. The big red pillars are gone. And it's really looking good. The masons are kicking it in gear to try to beat the weather. I would have certainly bet against them being able to get this done before the snow flies, but they're hauling butt out here right now, and they're really getting things done. So in the last week, I've really seen quite a turnaround out here, and it's really, really looking great. So you got to get down here and check it out. We got some new stores that are coming in, and of course the Biggie Outdoor Museum is down here. We got the cinema down here still, the Pick and Save, and Vitamin Barn, Dress Barn here. We got with Thelma's is down here, and there's several other ones. Plus, we're getting some new businesses in. We're getting some new restaurant, I guess, is coming in here. And there's quite a bit more to come over the next year. So you're going to want to keep an eye on the Cedar Creek area because it's definitely going to be the new face of the Rothschild area, and they're taking it very seriously, fixing this all up. As you can tell by the construction that's going on the exit here. You know, they put in some real nice medians there when they were doing it, and I was really surprised. They took the time to put some trees in and do some landscaping. So they didn't just do the construction and whip in some lanes of traffic and be done with it. They actually took the time to make it look nice, and it's got a very nice presentation as you get off the interstate and enter the Rothschild area here by the Gander Mountain and the Cedar Creek Mall. So it's really, really nice looking down here. So back to some of the stuff that I was talking about before we took a break. We were talking about the cover-ups and stuff. And of course, that Big E Outdoors, we work with several deer farmers, deer ranches, and folks all over the world. Recently we've been working with some folks that have some reach up into Canada, and they're doing some things with CWD up there. They're doing some proactive things, and to the point that they actually are doing some testing, and they found that there's no reason that we can't be testing for the gene on live animals, now not dead, that we can't be testing these animals live and figuring out which ones have the DNA marker, the marker in their body that will prove whether they're susceptible to CWD or not. And we actually, these deer breeders that we're blaming for this stuff, which they're not the fault of it. CWD is out there, it's in the wild, and that's where it started, folks. It did not start on deer farms. But these deer farmers can actually be the start of the cure, because they can breed it out. They can start finding the bloodlines that do not have the marker, and they simply put down those that do have the marker that make them susceptible, and they only breed those that are immune. Now, there's actually also some work being done on a way to give a vaccine that makes them and their offspring and all of their future generations immune, but they have to go through the proving grounds of that. Even though they've already pretty much proven it, they have to prove it to the government up there. So it's going to take a few more years for that. But they actually are proving that they can do that with an injection. So why is it that our Department of Ag has a closed mind to this? Well, I'll tell you, there's a lot of folks whose jobs depend on keeping CWD around. By making things have to be tested, by making the big commotion, by making all of us freak out about CWD and having to go and test all these facilities and run around all these fenced populations and blaming them and having the requirements that we do on them. These people have big jobs that depend on having a reason to exist. So they surely don't want to have a cure or have a reason to admit that there is something more that they can do about it. Now, I'm going to really point out something. CWD has another name. And this is what's really ridiculous. It's not just in deer and elk, but it can't go to humans, and it can't go to cows. But it's in sheep. It's the exact same disease. It's the exact same prion that's called scrapie. So if it is such a bad deal, then how come we're not high fencing sheep and goat farms, and doing the exact same stuff with all of our sheep and goat farmers that we are with the deer farmers? I'll tell you why. Because I've already figured out how to do exactly what I've just told you with the sheep and goat farmers. And they're doing it. But that's a domestic animal, and so they've dealt with it under the livestock spectrum of things. But scrapie is the exact same thing. That's it. And so they're sitting here, and they don't want sheep and goats running with deer, obviously, because the scrapie can go back and forth, and it's the same thing. So if they turn around and they allow the sheep and goats to run around on people's farms and go to fairs and do all the things that they do without being regulated like they are, then what is the big deal with the deer? Well, I'll tell you, folks, again, there's a lot of jobs that depend on the scare. And can you imagine how many people down in Madison would be out of a job if all of a sudden they said, yeah, well, it's really not as big of a deal as we said, and we actually, could work with these farmers a little bit more and help them breed this out of the herds, and it really isn't that big of a deal. They've gone to farms all across the U.S., across Canada, across all kinds of places, and they kill thousands and thousands of animals and find nothing. And they kill them just in the name of, hey, we've got a check for it. And that is unnecessary as well. Look at what just went on in Texas. Check your social media out, folks. They went into Texas. They killed thousands of deer on parks and on public lands and on people's deer farms, only to find nothing. So they come in, take a guy's livelihood, and kill thousands of things just to look for a disease. Now, that would be like coming into your schools and colleges and saying, hey, you know what? We need to look for, let's say, it's a communicable disease. That's what they're looking for. So pick it. Could be any STD, any communicable disease. And they say, we're just going to have to kill about, 25% of you to look for this disease. That is really about how much sense this makes, folks. This is a complete liberal agenda. And it is an agenda to put these people out of business. It'd be the same with going to beef farmers and saying, well, you know what? Just to make sure that you don't have mad cow disease, we're just going to take your cows and kill a bunch of them. And then we'll let you know. And after they kill a bunch of them, they come back and they say, yep, you're right. You didn't have mad cow disease. Good job. And they turn around and walk away. So, or tuberculosis, bovine TB. We're the only state that doesn't have bovine TB in our deer herd. Well, TB comes from cattle operations. That's how it gets into the deer herd. So if they're worried about all these things, it can come from a number of places. So I guess they should be killing everybody's cattle off and looking for TB. Just to make sure we don't get it, This is how much sense it does not make. And again, people's jobs are depending on it. We've got Department of Ag officials running around in cars getting big salaries, and there's so many of them, and they only stop in on these farms once a year, once every 2 years. Well, what are they doing out there? They're all driving brand new Dodge Magnum cars running around and then getting big salaries to do what? If they're looking to save money in our taxes and save money in the budget, we could fix that real quick. We fire half of them and make the ones that are out there actually do their job. And that would actually help the budget. So, folks, again, this is stuff that we all need to get involved in and start looking into instead of just turning our backs to it and pointing the finger and putting the blame on people that have deer farms. Those folks, they have a business that they're running, and we should probably start standing up for them because one way or another, they're connected to our industry and what we like to do. We'll be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and we'll be back with some more Big E Outdoor Radio. Thanks for listening. Welcome back to Big E Outdoor Radio. This segment is brought to you by Bruise Brothers, located on Highway X in Weston, just off of Highway 29. Fresh burger ground daily from country fresh meats and awesome hand-cut fries with all the tasty seasonings to choose from. They got plenty of tap brews with 35 beers on tap. If you haven't made your way on over to Bruise Brothers yet, you need to head on over and check them out. And tell them Big E sent you, and they'll give you a little something special from us just for mentioning it. But head on over there, and you'll be hooked up with the best burgers in town. That's Bruise Brothers on Highway X in Weston. Hey, welcome back to some more Biggie Outdoor Radio. And, folks, if you're looking for some great entertainment during the day, you can come on down and check out the Biggie Outdoor Museum. We've always got something crazy going on down here. And you can even check out the radio show. When my co-host is in, things get a little bit more lively down here. We have quite a bit of fun. Right now he's off on his honeymoon. Can you believe it or not? Brandon actually found somebody that would stick with him and marry him. And the poor gal got talked into going to a NASCAR race on their honeymoon. Can you believe that? I think she's definitely a keeper. So Brandon, you better treat her good, because when you talk a gal into going to a Talladega NASCAR race for your honeymoon, I got a lot of guys out there that are probably listening that are thinking, whoa, why didn't I think of that? So that's actually pretty good. So Brandon is now entering, like I said earlier, the world of men who are eternally wrong, because he's now married. So pretty much now he's got to ask permission for just about everything that he does. So, and I know he's listening right now as he's tooling around out there and getting ready to go to the NASCAR race today. So anyway, Brandon, hope you're having a good time, and I can't wait to get you back in here for next week's show. We have some hunting to do yet today. I've been doing some hunting up in northern Wisconsin on the Wilderness Reserve, which they have some great elk hunting up there on nearly 6,000 acres of private land, and it's fantastic. Spans a little bit of Wisconsin and mostly up into northern Michigan. It's again private ranch, and they've got elk and whitetail. Beautiful cabins on the lake, folks. If you're looking for a good getaway in the fall, in the summer, you can go up there, stay in the cabins, do some fishing on the lakes. Good place for corporate retreats, things like that. And I've been doing some whitetail hunting at Three Lakes Trophy Ranch, and I just had some guests up there, and we just got ourselves a really nice whitetail. You can follow along on a lot of our hunts on the Biggie Outdoors Facebook page. It's Biggie Outdoors on Facebook. And we post a lot of stuff in real time on there, like right immediately after it happens or as it's happening, before it goes on to our TV show even. So you might want to tune in there, because it's very interesting to follow along and see some of the great trophies that we're taking. Now, not all of our hunting is done on ranches. That's just some of the stuff that we do with our guest hunters. So if you are interested in hunting on television, all you got to do is come on down here, check us out at the Biggie Outdoors Museum and our home offices here, and you can check in with some of the staff and the pro staff here. We do guest hunting and guest hunts on television for a lot of the destinations that we hunt. We have 21 destinations around the world. So we do a lot of hunts in Africa, New Zealand, Argentina. In the U.S., we go to Alaska. We've got a place up there, World Class Outdoor Adventures up there. Steve Hicks, we can go up and hunt with him. We do some hunting in Florida for alligators, and we're picking up some new places actually, because alligator hunting is on the rise. And why is it on the rise? Well, there wasn't any alligator hunting, just like there wasn't any wolf hunting, folks, and the gators got out of control. So just like anything else, with the urban sprawl and the way things are, the gators started to get a little bit too plentiful in Mississippi, Alabama, Georgia, South Carolina, and there are some monster gators getting shot in these places. So if you're interested in going out and doing an alligator hunt, just let us know. We can hook you up with that. So a lot of these hunts occur in times of the year when we don't have anything to hunt up here. And I know a lot of us hunters in the north get a little bit thirsty to do some hunting. And these long months between hunting seasons, between deer season and turkey season, ice fishing is great, but if you're a hunter, it can get to be kind of long. This next year, we're going to start out our turkey season down in Florida with Osceola turkey hunting, and then we're going to follow it up and do our Easterns and then some Miriams and work our way all the way out to the Rios. You'll be able to follow along with us. So if you're into coyote hunting, we've got some great places to do that out in South Dakota. Now, that not to say that there isn't good coyote hunting right here in Wisconsin, but they're really, really easier to find in South Dakota. That's for sure. You got a little bit flatter land. It's a little bit more open, and you can spot them coming when you're calling them, and that really, really helps. You'll learn a lot about coyote hunting out there, and it might help you when you come back to Wisconsin. So there's a lot of different things out there to hunt. Hog hunting is definitely on the rise. Supposedly, we have some feral hogs in Wisconsin. So if you do see them in Wisconsin, folks, it's a shoot-on-sight thing. And this, I got to side with the DNR. If there really are some feral hogs or we have a feral hog problem in Wisconsin, we definitely need to nip it in the bud, folks. If you see hogs, if you see hog tracks, track them babies down and get rid of them, because you don't want these things in the state. We don't want them. Nobody should be raising exotic hogs. If you know of anybody that is, we definitely need to report that, because it's not a joke. These things get out, and we got a problem. If you are wanting to know what it's like, let us know. I'll hook you up on some hunts down in the Carolinas and Georgia. You go down there and take a look at the crops and see what these animals do. And this all impacts us, because once crops are ruined, then it makes prices go up. Farmers cannot take the kind of losses that these animals can do. And if you think deer damage is something, wait till you see hog damage. We just had some hunters up here that we were talking about crop damage tags and things like that. And they said, well, you got hogs up here? And we said, no, it's from deer. And they said, you get crop damage tags for deer? And I said, yeah, that's what way some of our farmers do. And they could not believe it, because in the South, where they actually have enough deer that their season is a one deer a day or an unlimited amount of deer, they can hunt deer for 4 or 5 months, and they can shoot as many as they want. They don't even have deer damage tags down there. It's all about the hogs, because that's how much damage is done by the hogs. And it's unbelievable what these things can do to a farmer's field and the land. So we surely do not want hogs in Wisconsin. No way at all. It's not about disease. It's just about the fact that that's another one of these animals that, we don't want introduced to the state. And there's definitely a reason for it. So if you want to do some hog hunting and you want to have some fun, we'll go to the South, where they are plentiful. And trust me, they have reproduced to the point that you would have to kill 70% of the hog population just to stay broke even down there. And I know we've talked about that before on the radio show and on our television show. And you would not believe it until you get down there and see the amount of hogs. When I can take you out in a day and ride around in one of the golf carts or one of the buggies down there and show you 100 hogs or better, you will just be amazed at the amount of hogs down there. So if you're looking for a great hunt, of course they did realize that there's money in hog hunting, so they do charge for it now. But when you go down there, it's a great hunt, and you're going to have a great time, and you come back with some good pork. It's very lean, and it's very good for you. Wild hog is all natural. There's nobody pumping any preservatives or any chemicals into them, that's for sure. They're out there eating off the land. So wild hog is very good. So just let us know. We can hook you up and point you in the right direction. So let's see what else we can do. Antelope out in the Dakotas, and the mule deer, and moose and grizzly bear up in Alaska. And again, like I said, we can even take you down to Africa. And if you want to hunt African game and you just can't take the flight, there are places in Texas and Mexico that have big ranches, and we're talking, 8 and 10,000 acre ranches that have African game on them. So it is possible to do African game hunts here in the United States even. And the benefit there is you can actually bring the African game meat home then and try it at home. When you do go to Africa, our United States laws don't allow you to bring back meat from those animals. There's good reason for that as well. You don't want to be importing something that could bring a disease back. So you can eat all you want while you're there, but you can't bring the meat back with you. So if you do want to do an African hunt, an African style hunt, but can't do the flight, want to do something here in the United States, it's about the same price. And we can hook you up with a place in Texas or northern Mexico and get you to do something like that there. So we will be right back. We're going to take a quick break, and then we'll come back and we'll get you some more good outdoor hunting and fishing information here on Biggie Outdoor Radio with Biggie and Brandon. Thanks for listening. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to Biggie Outdoor Radio. Hey, we're wrapping up our second hour of Biggie Outdoor Radio, and we are down at our studio here in the Cedar Creek Mall. Folks, if you're looking to see something that really is amazing, come down and check out the transition here at the Cedar Creek Mall. This is it's really something. The new owner is definitely taking things serious, and he came down here and totally remodeled this place and has put a new roof on it, nice stone pillars out here. He's done just some amazing work in making this place look a little bit more modern and taking things real serious, bringing in some new businesses for all of us to enjoy here at Cedar Creek. And so they'll be opening soon, and there's more to come, so you'll definitely want to come and check things out. It's definitely something to see. So you can check out the Biggie Outdoor Radio Show being taped live right down here at our studio, and you can even come on in and check out our big game museum and our gift shop down here. Pick up some Biggie Outdoor T-shirts and hats and some other gifts for the kids, and maybe even some Christmas gifts down here as well. We got some good souvenirs and things like that from our hunts worldwide and places that we hunt at. Getting into the hunting season, one of the things that, it's just something that I always enjoy is trying to get new people out hunting. And whether it's women or youth, it's always good to get new folks into hunting. And before I get onto the women thing, I'm going to tell you that the two hunters that I just had here last, my pro staffer, Ernest, is a black hunter. And he brought up a friend, Willie Adams, who is also a black hunter. And the reason I'm pointing that out is because when you go out into the woods and you go into hunting or even go to a hunting trade show, predominantly you do not see a lot of African American hunters. And this is something that is now starting to grow. I don't know exactly why they haven't gotten into it in the past, or what the holdback was in the past. And I guess I'd have to really ask some of these guys to find out what that is. But those that are getting into hunting really enjoy it. And I believe that those of us that really get into hunting need to mentor more youth from the inner city and from projects, from places that don't get exposed to what we do, not only to preserve our heritage, but to keep these kind of people, and when I say these kind of people, I don't mean anything about color. I mean these kind of people as in these kids that are in the cities that don't get exposed to the outdoors. That's what I'm talking about. The kids that normally end up in gangs or end up causing trouble in town and that kind of stuff, those are the kind of people I'm talking about. We need to reach out to them, and we teach them that if they get into the outdoors, that there's more to look forward to and reasons to look forward to not getting in trouble, because you don't want to lose the privilege of hunting. So when you can give them that thrill and give them that enjoyment and make them see that, hey, I want to be a hunter and I want to enjoy the outdoors and I want to be able to to own a gun and be able to go hunting, and I want to be able to do all this stuff. Then they start realizing that, hey, I need to watch my my behavior, and I need to be careful that I don't get into trouble because I don't want to lose that right. So reaching out to folks in the city is important, and there are a lot of, in the cities, black communities, African American communities, where there's just nobody reaching into them. And the more of these hunters that we get that are African American that come into it and enjoy it, there's some great folks out there. And by helping them get into it, they can in turn reach out to their kids and other kids that they know, and they can help out. And it makes our numbers stronger. Really, here's the thing. We know we're going to teach our kids to hunt, right? And so what's going to happen is our numbers are going to stay stagnant. So the only way for us to continue to grow in strength is to reach out to new people, number one. And the other thing is we're going to have to stay together. Again, whether you are into fence hunting, high fence hunting, whether you're into dove hunting, whether you're into bow hunting, whether you're into baiting, not baiting, it doesn't matter what you do or what you like to do. Nobody's saying you have to do it. We're saying support everyone and say, hey, look, I don't really want to hunt that way, but you're a hunter. I'm going to support you. You support me. I want to hunt with dogs. I want to chase bears with dogs. I want to chase fox with dogs. I want to hunt ducks with dogs or pheasants. I want to use bait. I want to not use bait. I want to hunt with a bow. I want to hunt with a gun. It doesn't really matter. We need to stick together. Maybe you're not even a hunter. All you want to do is shoot. Fine. Then we need to stand together and support you. You support us. We're hunters. You support us, okay? When we start getting our heads out of our hind ends and start doing that and quit fighting amongst ourselves, that's when we're going to start to be stronger. Our own stupidity is what's causing us to lose our own rights and have laws that are passed against us because we're too dumb to figure out that we're our own worst enemy. Then the next thing is we need to reach out to make our numbers stronger. And this is where we need to get past our own personal prejudices and our own personal fears, maybe. Maybe that's what it is. And we need to reach out not only to women. Women hunters is definitely on the rise. It's the number one growing population in hunting. That's great. But we need to reach out to hunters of color, kids in the cities, and start mentoring these people and show them that, hey, there's some great things in the outdoors, and you guys should start looking at that. And here's how you can keep enjoying it. Here's how you can not lose the right to enjoy the outdoors. Here's how you can help us preserve the outdoors. And by doing that, we start adding people that are not in that consistent equation. Sure, I hunt. My son hunts. My daughter hunts. Their kids are going to hunt. These things make the numbers stay the same. But when we start bringing in people that are not in the equation, they did not hunt, their families did not hunt, and we start bringing in new folks, and they can affect many, that is when we are going to start adding numbers. And like I said, by reaching out, you're going to find a lot of people that have a great passion for it. They just need to be introduced to it. So again, I was fortunate enough to be able to hunt with Willie and Ernie, and Ernie is a long-time hunter. Willie, by the way, is one of very few African-American park rangers. He works for the Park Service, the Federal Park Service. And this guy really gets into the outdoors. I mean, he knows a lot of stuff about the outdoors, things that would just blow you away. And to see somebody that has that kind of passion and realize that, he comes from a background or comes from places that you normally wouldn't associate with hunting, and realize that he has the capability and the ability to affect numbers of folks that we generally wouldn't be able to reach. That's the kind of stuff that we need to wrap our arms around and support. So I give big kudos to those guys, and I really enjoyed hunting with them, and And I hope that they keep reaching out to the youth that they can reach out to, because sometimes their voice means more than what my voice might mean to some of the youth that they can affect. So, like I said, it's a shame when I sit at some of these trade shows and I watch and I see 2 or 3 African American hunters walking down the aisle and hundreds of white hunters, and I think, man, why aren't there more hunters of color? So, like I said, we need to reach out to these folks and add them to our numbers. And then, of course, we need to keep working with women. So as we get into the next hour or the next segment here, I'm going to talk a little bit more about ways to add women to our hunting, because sometimes we have to think about the fact that these women that are coming into hunting, there's certain physical abilities and certain physical factors that make it so that these women need some help or assistance from us, and we can help them figure out ways around these obstacles. And I'm talking about bows and crossbows and specialized equipment. And if we work with them, we can get them involved and make them enjoy staying in hunting, and not just go out one time, do it, and say, yeah, I hunted, but, it really wasn't for me, and I really didn't like it. We can hook them on the outdoors, make them have a great time, and get them into something that becomes a passion. And this is what we need to do. Again, it comes down to sharing the outdoors with the people around you. So we are going to wrap up this hour, and we'll take a quick break, and we'll come back with a brand new hour of Big E Outdoor Radio.